fans, I'm Chris Hardwick, and I'm here with Robert Kirkman, writer of The Walking Dead and director of the TV series too. And you're watching The Talking Dead. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing good. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. I'm good myself, actually. So can I call you Rob?
You can call me whatever
All
you
right.
want.
So what I wanted to start with, Rob, was there are some fans out there who haven't heard of this or read about this TV series and book series.
That's a small,
And
it's a small
amount of
percentage.
people. So I wanted to ask you, can you just give a little bit of insight, not too much, to those fans who haven't heard about this, just so they can get a feel for what we're talking about here?
Right, just so you can get a feel, is we start off with this, with my main character, Rick Grimes, and his friend, Shane Walsh, and they're police officers, and the chief of police gives him a call, and he tells him to go down to the prison nearby. And there's this escaped convict, and he's halfway down the road, and they're waiting for him. And as soon as he sees the cop car, he stops, gets out, starts shooting at them. So they retaliate, and Rick Grimes, my main character, he tries to get a vantage point in a ditch, and while he's running to the ditch, he gets shot right below the heart, and he slips into a coma. It could be a day, or 2 months, a month, whatever you want to call it, before he wakes up. And when he wakes up, he wakes up in the hospital, and he looks around. Nobody's there. He's calling for nurses. He's calling for anybody really who can help him. And he comes to his door. It says, "Do not open, dead inside." And that's where I want to leave you.
All right, I think that was a perfect place to leave off, because the first novel is truly exhilarating, because it offers such a widespread of variety and everything. It shows you basically everything that's happening, but it doesn't give you too much. And that's where I want to start off, how you were writing, So I wanted to ask you, did anyone help you, stood there as an inspiration for you to start writing about zombies? Because when you started writing about this, it was a weird topic to start writing about. No one really
back
wrote
in
about this.
2002.
Yeah.
But my inspiration was George A. Romero, and if you don't know George A. Romero, he was famous for writing all these zombie movies, and his first zombie movie was Night of the Living Dead in 1968, and it was black and white, as turns out most people, but I was interested in the point of having a zombie, and I've never heard the term zombie, and I went as a kid, I saw it, and it was beautiful. Even if it was black and white, it was about zombies, it was everything to me, and it gave me the inspiration to write the comic book and have characters living in that world. And
I really like where you left off there. And I wanted to ask you something. A lot of people say that what you wrote about isn't really about how do you say this? Isn't about the zombies and the world they live in. It's about the characters and the people they become, and it sort of is a reflection of today's society, of how things do change people and how things can happen. People can become brute and killers and all this stuff. So what do you have to say to that?
I say those people who think that are absolutely correct. I wrote this book just to talk about the characters and not only the zombies, which are referred to as walkers in this series. And we write about the characters and how they change, and particularly my main character, Rick Grimes, he came off as an officer of the law, follows all the rules, even though it's still a zombie apocalypse. He gets deeper and deeper into this world, and he changes himself, not purposely, but mentally and physically.
I know what you're saying there, because in the beginning, he's kind, he's soft, he meets people, he trusts them, but now
he can't trust anybody.
It's nothing like that. He really is a killer now. He's brute, and as people once looked up to him, now they're afraid of him, of how much Oh, you know what that is? That is our timer to let us know that we're almost out of time. But we can continue. So, now people are afraid of him. It's not like he once was, this soft human being who allowed people. An example of that is with the governor. After that incident, he's a killer. He's done. He doesn't have anything to live for. He doesn't believe in anything.
The governor shot his wife. Spoilers, the governor shot his wife and child, which really gave him nothing to live for. So only his son is his biggest motivation to keep going, but it's really hard to go, even though
and I think we have
years in the zombie apocalypse.
Sorry for interrupting there, but I think we have time for one more Twitter question, and let me get
it my Twitter question? Because there's so many questions.
We'll go on to your Twitter page. All right, let's see. All right, so I have a question from Laura616 Walker fan. Asks us, can you give us any previews on the upcoming novels?
Well, I don't have the upcoming novel with me, but I don't want to spoil anything. But as I said before, spoiler alert, if you haven't read it, there's this character named Negan. He's the worst out of everything anybody's ever seen in the zombie apocalypse, worse than the walkers. And he causes mayhem in this volume, and Rick and his group, they have to strike back. He can't just walk all over them. And
is it about to get intense?
It's been intense since the first one.
But is it about to get
It's about to go down.
I like it. I like that. So looks like we're out of time. I'm Chris Hardwick.
I'm Robert Kirkman.
And this is The Talking Dead.
Thank you, Chris.
No problem.